Hey everyone, my name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. It is turning into the Game to Love withdrawal podcast. It seems that every time we do a podcast at the moment, there's just another one of the legends withdrawing from a tournament. And this time, it's Serena Williams. It was sort of written in the stars, really. We should have really seen it coming, shouldn't we, JG?
Well, I was going to say, at least you've got a template now for these podcasts. Thumbnails, they just need to change the photo every time. So one less job for you to do makes it a little bit easier, but it's not good news. And I think it actually was released similar time to Nadal pulling out that last night. It's just not ideal. It really isn't, because Serena now, another name who's going to be going into the US Open with no tournaments before. So no warm-up events, nothing on the hard courts. The last time we saw her was at Wimbledon, where it wasn't a good showing. She got injured, and it seems to be the injury still keeping her out of these upcoming hard court events. And she's not the only name as well. You've got Venus Williams. She's announced she's going to be pulling out. And Sofia Kenin, the girl who was playing so well, was it last year, 2020? She had a great season. Not really hit the ground running too much this season, not won many matches. She's pulled out as well.
Yes, I mean, sure, Sofia Kenin had a bit of a torrid time. She had the 4 losses in a row earlier on in the year and followed it up not too bad at the French Open, got to the 4th round. We're going out to Sakari. But yeah, she lost at Wimbledon, 2nd round to Brengel. And now she's pulled out as well. But the main person, obviously, with not too much time left, is going to be Serena Williams. Obviously, Venus Williams, she's in that bracket as well. But the one that everybody's probably more concerned about with the US Open on the horizon, is there going to be the possibility for Serena to get that sort of last Grand Slam chance, really? And I'm hoping that she's going to be all right with this. But you can see there on the screen, news from Tennis Channel International, Serena, Venus and Sofia Kenin all withdrawn from the Western and Southern Open due to injuries. Sad, mate. Do we know the exact extent of the injuries, or have they not gone into too much detail?
It just seems to be a follow-on from the Wimbledon injury. So wherever that was, it's the same thing. She's not recovered from it. Like you said, we're coming to an end of an era. Venus Williams, I don't think she's got very long at all. I don't know if she's announced her retirement, but you'd expect it to be either this end of this year or the next year. I can't see it going on much longer. And Serena, I think it's going to be similar. Is she in the 40 club yet or not yet?
Not yet. She's 1 month.
Federer's just made it, hasn't he, Ian?
Yes,
Serena's just almost there, and these guys now they've not got long whatsoever. And it was an interesting thing I saw earlier. Actually, the last time we saw the big three on the men's in a Masters tournament was in 2019. And who would have thought we'd have had a few years without seeing them all in one tournament? And there's a lot of Masters events as well. Whether or not we're going to see one again, I'm not so sure. Are we ever going to see a Masters event with Serena and Venus back in the draw as well? They've been dominating them for so many years. It just seems like you've got to try and be a bit upbeat about the situation, talking about some of the young players coming through. But it is hard because this is all we've ever known in tennis.
Yeah.
For me, Serena, Venus, I can't imagine what tennis is like without them, because I'll be honest, I've never watched tennis when they're not there. So I've never seen women's tennis without them involved. So it is just going to be hard to adapt to. But there is some good young players who we love a lot. Iga Swiatek, a name what sort of springs to mind instantly, and many more as well. We just need to really get involved in them just to help with the pain of these lot coming to an end.
Well, don't forget, there's some amazing female players at the top of the sport at the moment. The top 3, they're quite incredible. Barty, Osaka, Sabalenka, just to name a few. And you said Swiatek as well. If Andreescu can come back to form, that's another great player as well. I think we need to embrace the fact that this is going to be probably the last chance saloon for someone like a Serena or Venus, and we're going to have to throw all our eggs into the new breed's basket.
Yep.
And Barty won the last one. Osaka, we had Krejcikova win the French. We had Osaka win at the beginning of the year. I just think it's one of those things now that is the sort of the new breed. I like the fact that we've had 3 different Grand Slam winners on the women's side this year. We could have a fourth. Could have 4 complete different Grand Slam winners.
Well, it's very possible, and it's something which is interesting on the women's side because you don't see it on the men's. It's more, it's just Djokovic dominance at the moment. But even when it's not like that, you'd expect Rafa maybe to pick up one, and then it's either Djokovic or Federer usually for the others. I know Medvedev has been coming close. He can't quite do it. Team got in there, but there was no one else who could possibly win it because Djokovic got defaulted and the other 2 didn't enter. But just focusing on this news, Serena pulling out of Cincinnati. I don't know if you go on to the next one because this is what she said. Obviously, she is the 2-time champion, 2014 and 2015. Yep. And she was just saying, I'm still recovering from my leg injury at Wimbledon. I will miss all of the fans in Cincinnati, and I plan to be back on court very soon. And it would have been momentous with the fans because she gets such a great reception in any American event, especially on the hard court. Cincinnati is one where she's going to be loved, and there's going to be a lot of sad fans, I'm sure, who would have bought tickets in anticipation just to watch Serena Williams, and now they don't get to. So you've got to remember the fan side of things because fans are just allowed back into stadiums now, and a lot of them are desperate to get back watching live tennis again, and they're going to be now having to watch it without some of their big stars who they'd love to have seen.
Yes, indeed. I mean, she hasn't won it since 2015, like you're saying, but just to go and see her in the flesh is the main thing, I think, for a lot of these. Similar with the Roger effect as well. He puts bums on seats, and when you don't have those big names in there, arguably the tournament devalues a little bit. And I know it's unfair to some of the younger players coming through, but when you're just not a fair weather fan, but if you're just a neutral fan or just a neutral person who doesn't even watch tennis that often, if you want to go and see tennis, probably want to go and see Roger Federer, Serena Williams, people like that, Rafa, Djokovic, all these top players. And if they're not in the draw, probably you won't get the average like everyday fan going. You'll probably just get the hardcores, which is still good, but it won't pack the rafters, and that's what they're after. They just want to make as much money as possible. Obviously, they've had last year was abysmal for tennis tournaments for getting gates in and stuff like that. Yeah. So this year, last year we had a walkover in the final. Remember, it was Naomi Osaka just pulled out just to be ready for the US Open. Yeah. So she went on and won. So that could be interesting. We've got Azarenka is the reigning champion. Could she go on and hold it again? She's another person slightly older as well.
Well, most likely. I'm not sure if Osaka's going to be even playing Cincinnati. We'll have to find out. In terms of the actual GOATs now, I think that means Djokovic is pulled out, Federer's out, Serena's out. Nadal's the only one I don't think he said he's out of Cincinnati, as far as I'm aware. But you'd expect him not to be there. I just don't. I think he's going to save himself for the US Open as well.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. I think it's looking like that. Unfortunately, if that's what the price we have to pay to see everybody at the US Open, I think we're all going to have to pay the price and just hope that they're fully fit, ready for it, and they can get through enough rounds and get enough warm up in the early rounds, get a nice draw. That's all we're hoping for. And that, Rafa could slip potentially to number 5, so it might not be a nice draw. Like we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah, and on the rankings, it is a bit confusing because there's some conflicting reports. Someone in the chat saying that the points aren't going to be taken from, here we go, Edgar. I read that Novak won't lose his points for Cincy. Too much confusion over points right now. As far as I'm aware, he will be losing the points.
I have no
I'm
idea
not sure.
anymore.
It might just be a Djokovic fan spreading some false stories. But as far as I'm aware, that's when the points are going to be going back to normal. I think it's a relief because it just makes everyone's life a lot easier when it's just back to how we're used to it, without all these half points here and there.
I don't have time for this. And just, you just never know what the rules are. Over the past year and a half, we've been sort of second guessing every time. And then we say, is it full points, half points? Yep. Is it over 18 months now, not over 12 months? No, he's got protected ranking. He's not got, you don't know what's going on in the ranking system anymore. It's a bit confusing, but it's like you said, there is light on the horizon for tennis rankings, and it could benefit somebody like a Daniel Medvedev, someone like this, that he's sort of, if he can win these next 2 tournaments, could be seeing something big if Djokovic does drop those points.
I think pushing for number 1 is going to be tough, but he can just cement himself and clear the gap, because Nadal at one point was close, but the more he's pulling out of events, the further he's going to get away from the pack. Zverev's got a good opportunity to now move up through the rankings, especially if he plays Cincinnati. I'd assume he would. But the one thing I wanted to ask you, I've got a question for you actually. Out of all of these big guys now who have withdrawn from the events, they're not going to be playing any hardcourt events, potentially Nadal at Cincinnati, but let's assume he doesn't, before the US Open. What I want to know is, who do you think can deal with that the best? Because notably over the years, I was having a little look, and there's been many different graphics circulating. A lot of the time, it's very difficult for these players to go into a Grand Slam and compete at the best level without playing any kind of tennis prior. I know Rafa's had a few events, so you can really count them, but it's not the same. It's not the build up, the direct build up to the US Open. Who can deal with that the best, and who can't deal with it?
It's a very good question, and unfortunately, I'd have to go off the state of people's bodies to answer that. And the way that I would see it right now would be Djokovic, Nadal, then Federer, and probably even Serena behind Federer, I would say. I know, just because of that injury didn't look good for her at Wimbledon. It looks like she was struggling a lot when she went off court, and her movement was already compromised in that, like, she's not moving the same anymore around the court. She's got the hard hitting. Is it enough anymore? I think the best she could maybe hope for is like quarters or something like that if she was to power away in. But there's too many good players now coming through. I would worry for her. Just gets pushed around the court, they're exposed that knee instantly. So
yeah, I think I agree. It's going to be Serena and Federer, isn't it? the more old stayers on tour. I think that's going to be pretty difficult to get up to speed with things. I wouldn't be surprised if not both of them or one of them will go out first round if they are to enter the US Open. I don't want to see it happen. You know me. We'll probably be doing a live watch along for it, I'm sure. We'll be willing them on, hoping they can win. But I think it's difficult. There's so many good players now. And if they're not up to speed, they're just going to get beaten.
Yeah. You saw it at Wimbledon. We were sort of treated to the Federer show at Roland Garros and the comeback, and then at Wimbledon as well, making fourth round and quarterfinals. I don't think we expected that from his comeback, but I don't think that it goes any further than that for Federer, if I'm honest. I think quarterfinals is probably the max I can see right now. But anyway, shall I move on to the next tab on Twitter? I know that you...
Yeah, you can do. I think we've covered that one, though. It's just more... You can click on it. It's about Kenin as well.
Okay,
So Kenin, another one who's not... She's not been playing well, so I don't think it's a big loss, if I'm honest.
No, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Well, we went over that at the beginning. Anyway, we'll skip over that one. Let's go to some other news that I knew that...
It's a bit of a lighter note. So something... Yeah. I wouldn't say it's good news because it's a bit of a stupid decision, but it's quite funny. And I don't know if you've seen it, guys, but the whole thing with Medvedev, Bublik the other day, I'll let you explain it because you're probably better at the whole point by point and how it happened.
Yeah, so literally what happened, I mean, I can sort of take you through it. I'll have a quick watch of it now. There was a great half volley drop shot from Bublik. Then he plays a tweener that Medvedev smashed at him. And then he fell over on the floor while trying to return it. Managed to get it back over the net.
And I must say, amazingly got it back. I don't know how he managed to.
No idea. And it seemed like he was concussed or something from getting it back on the floor. Medvedev apologized during the point and said, sorry for hitting it at him, directly at him. And then he lost the point. The umpire said, you spoke during the point and now you lose the point. And Bublik thought he had lost the point, like screaming during the rally while he had the ball hit at him. And there was all this confusion over who actually won the point. And then when Medvedev asked the umpire, She said, no, you lose the point. He said, no, so can we replay the point? No, you lose the point. He said,
So
this is
it's hindrance. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I'll be honest. I've
I
watched
have.
tennis for a while. Have you seen it before?
At the most famous, well, probably Andy Murray, Fabio Fognini, when he's on top of the net trying to put away a
Oh,
volley,
yeah.
and then Fabio shouts out like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
And
Okay.
he afterwards he just said that was one saying, "Shut up, shut up." That
Yeah.
he was saying
Yeah.
to him
I
on
remember that.
court. Yeah. So
But it doesn't happen too often, and you've got to feel a little bit, pardon the pun, sorry for Medvedev,
yeah,
because
I
he's only
do.
just doing it out of kindness. He was just apologising. He almost knocked Bublik's head off, and he was just saying sorry. But you need to just, at the end of the day, you've got to follow the rules, and you're not allowed to speak during the points. You've got to wait for the
Can you
point to
do
be
that?
over and
Can you
dead.
just put a hand up, or that's not allowed either?
I'm sure you're allowed to put a hand up during the point, but I wouldn't recommend it. Ultimately, you need to try and make sure to win the point first. I wouldn't mess around with that. You need to just play the point till it's over, and then you can apologise after. But
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it when I play. I'm no professional, but I'll talk during a point.
Oh no, I've done it before in the past during doubles, and someone told me to shut up during some doubles match, and then I had other players who were like talking to themselves during like the points, and that's off-putting for me when you're playing against someone and they're sort of murmuring stuff or going and trying to G themselves up, but it's off-putting.
Yeah,
But I don't
I
know.
must admit it was very funny. Medvedev is a funny guy. Some of the
It's
things he
going on
was saying
tennis
as well.
TV.
But like, where do you stand with it? Do you think it was right of the umpire to point it out and give him the hindrance warning and take the point?
Rules are rules. Unfortunately, even if it's a word sorry, it could. The sad thing is, it was doing something nice, which actually lost him the point. So he could have sworn at him and got the same punishment, which is terrible. So I
Yeah, you
don't
got
know.
Liam there saying at the end of the day, he did speak during the point. It's stupid, but she followed the rules. She has a job to keep as well. Of course, she has to do what she has to do. Personally, I would just prefer if she just turned a blind eye to it.
Yeah. There's no one even in the stands.
Because come on, it's just, I don't think it's necessarily, you don't have to do that. Like, say if she wasn't to do it and pick up on it, no one would criticize and be like, you forgot to to penalise Medvedev for taking that point. Bublik wouldn't have complained. He didn't even know he didn't even realise he won the point.
No.
He was saying, is it me who was speaking? He didn't even know. So
No.
she could have just completely turned a blind eye to it and no one would have cared. Personally, that's what I would have liked to have seen. I think it is stupid. I think you need to sometimes, with all sports, I know there's rules, but there needs to be, I forget the word for it to explain it, but you need to use common sense sometimes.
Yep.
It seems to be so stupid in every sport that it's very rigid to the rules. You need to actually look at every situation and isolate it in its own means and then decide.
Evaluate. That's it. Yeah, evaluate each situation fairly. Obviously, we've had many situations of very strange circumstances last year. Remember when, who was it? Was it Aljaz Badeni when he hit one of the cameramen in the stands by accident, and the cameraman just went, "Oh no, I'm fine," and then they played on.
Yeah.
But then when Djokovic hit the umpire, like the line judge in the throat, she stayed on the floor for like a good 30 seconds, minute.
And I think it's a good point. Like maybe if she got up and was like, "Oh, it's fine," and just dusted it off, then Djokovic wouldn't have been defaulted.
That was why all of the Djokovic fans got on her back, because she went down. I think you've got to look at it each one
discretion.
Separately,
that's the word.
Yeah, exactly. You got to look at each one in its own way, because she's a line judge and her voice is what she's got to use. And if you hit her in the throat, that's probably, I don't know, it might have affected her voice. You don't know that. So we can't really blame her for getting hit in the throat. And that's why everybody was getting on her back, sending her death threats and stuff. Like, come on.
You got Liam there saying she looked like she'd been sniped. It was definitely a bit dramatic, but
well, you never know. You never know what people's pain threshold is as well. Yeah. And she wasn't expecting it as well. She was just standing there looking down the line, and suddenly it just went, ugh, like it could have been anything that just hit her in the throat. She wouldn't even known what it was.
Personally, this is just, if that hit me, I would have been the type of person just to get up instantly, even if it really hurt me. Because I would be embarrassed to be that I don't know. That's just the way I am. I'd be embarrassed that I've just been hurt, so I'd have just got up and be like, "No, I'm fine, just fine." Even and then afterwards in the changeover, I probably just had to sit down and just put some ice on it. But
you reckon it's yeah? But you got to remember.
I don't think it was that. I don't know. It is what it is. Let's not talk about that too much. Let's focus on this happier story.
Don't get into that.
There's more to it. So at the net afterwards, Medvedev says to Bublik that he didn't mean to hinder him with the sorry during the point, and Bublik replied, "You wanted to tease me. I get it. I get it. Good luck." So I think he's taking it in good spirits as well. He knows it's stupid, but the rules are rules. And Medvedev then, I think this is what he says to the umpire. He's like, "Thank you, Sanya. Sorry." And apologizes to her. It was a big sorry.
Yeah, well, what can you do about that? Still interesting to have these funny events happen on the tennis court, and probably between two of the funnier players at least. So everybody sort of took it with a grain of salt. I think Medvedev, he still won the match, so he's not really going to be complaining that much, is he?
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll wrap it up there. Any big matches you've got your eye on today?
Well, yes, it's RS just threw it up in the live chat there. That was the one that sort of jumped off the page. Aslan Karatsev, he is playing today against Karen Khachanov, the battle of the Russians. That one's going to be super exciting. Can Karatsev rediscover that hard court form and put
what a chance for him?
The Olympic
what a chance for Aslan, man. He can go all the way and win this tournament now.
Well, I hope he has a good chance at doing it. Tsitsipas, he made it through against Ugo Humbert in a dramatic match, it seemed. 15-13 in the second set tiebreak last night. What happened there?
It's crazy. It really was.
I know. I can't. Were there match points? Yeah, 5 match points for Tsitsipas. I didn't even get a chance to watch it. It was on so late.
Yep.
But amazing that he got it done. Breadstick in the final set, and Tsitsipas, maybe that will be the catalyst to get him back to winning ways, beating somebody who's beaten him the last 2 times they've played.
Yeah, and on the women's, good news for Konta. She managed to win in the end.
Walkover. Yeah,
a bit lucky, yeah, because I think Zhang retired, didn't she? Andreescu beat Harriet Dart. Dart took a set though, the second set. Doesn't fill me with too much confidence. Andreescu losing sets early doors. Collins still going on. Did she win the last? I think she won a tournament, and now she's still going.
Yeah.
She beat Teichmann and Azarenka 6-2, 6-2. She's coming to that time again. Ready for Cincinnati. Could she go and win Cincinnati and go deep in the US Open
again? I think she's going to be up there.
Dark horse. She likes this time of year.
She really does. Cincinnati champion last year due to a walkover, and then the finalist. So that would have been the final of Cincinnati, Azarenka Osaka, and then we actually saw it in the final of the US Open. Can she go one better? We'll have to wait and see. On the women's draw today, just to see a few matches that sort of jump off the page, I would say have a look out for Coco Gauff. She's playing Potapova, who's in good form later. And probably the best match of the day for me, or there's 2 actually, Sakari Kudermetova, but I actually like Samsonova Cerebres Tormo. That's my sort of pick of the day for the women's, that one.
Yep. And I think on the ITFs, Raducanu's back in action.
Nice.
I believe she may have won the first round. She's playing again today. We'll wish her luck for that one. I think it's against Bonaventure, so it's going to be a tough match, but she certainly can do it.
Nice. Sounds good.
Let's wrap it up there. Big shout out to everyone who joined us for this one. If you haven't already, hit the like button on the video. Hopefully we don't have to do any more withdrawal videos very soon, but we probably will, knowing the current climate of tennis. Like and subscribe, and see you guys very soon.
See you later, guys.